This is Shadow the Hedgehog, and you're watching the Lethal Gear Podcast with Shadow the Hedgehog.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Lethal Gear Podcast. We have a special interview today, and matter of fact, we have Mr. Shadow759. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Shadow759. Hello.
I'm Sonickick, and we have my friend Black Shadow joining me for this podcast. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this interview. So Shadow, what was your motivation to start making YouTube videos?
If I'm being honest with on how I started and everything, it's quite literally out of pure boredom at a summer. It was like one of those, a friend of mine linked me to a video, and it was the first time I ever got a video linked to me that was like not really made by a studio kind of thing. It was actually made by a person, like an actual video of something, and it's like they voiced over it, and I'm like, that's so cool. And I always wanted to do that. I think I was like 17 at the time at high school. I messaged this person who so happens to be Silvernux at the time, and I pretty much asked, how do I do such a thing? And it's like, just grab your microphone and just record in Audacity. And I said, really? That's it? And I'm like, okay. And that's when like the stuff started.
It's crazy to think that I was 17 when I first started, and I'm like, wait a minute. If you were 17 when you first started, and I was like, what, 7 or 8? Like, how?
I get a lot of
I know.
Like saying like, man, I've watched you since I was like 6 years old, and like some people say like, oh, you're my childhood and everything, and I'm like, no, I wasn't anyone's childhood. And then I really stopped and think like, you know something, I've been on YouTube for almost 13 years, and if I really am honest with myself, that is like a big chunk of time that like, yes, that could be someone's childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing YouTube stuff around like 2009, so that was like, I want to say 13, 14 maybe?
Mm.
That's when I started watching.
Wow.
If anything, I was just like a constant viewer, kind of ghost, and then I just actually started making videos in 2016. But it's more like gaming analysis videos, quote unquote. But yeah.
But no, it's pretty cool that people just go off and just do their own thing because they're watching something and it's like, oh man, I feel like doing this and stuff, and they just go ahead and here you are interviewing and stuff like that,
All right, next question. What made you decide to go from pretty jokey short videos to creating your own series of videos like Sonic Reminiscent?
I remember one time when I was just doing a whole bunch of comedic videos together and stuff like that. It's fun, and I still do that to this day. I one time just felt like, I'd done so many of these one-shot things that I actually feel like telling an actual story. And a lot of people just knew me for comedy at the time, and I wanted to do something different by showing pretty much in high school, I used to draw comics of my own characters and wrote stories of dramatic stuff, sometimes love stories, sometimes this and that, and I wanted to do a video series on that type of thing. And for Sonic Reminiscent, I figured this is a good time to start showing off the comedy side of things and slowly introduce people to story elements and start going into the darker stuff and deep meanings and stuff like that.
I also started noticing that I think with the Who Has the Master Emerald series, and it went from an inside joke from some videos that happened, and then all of a sudden it just became this whole, how do I describe it?
Here's the thing that's
became
so
a whole
funny about
cinematic universe.
who
Let's
has
just
the
say
Master
that.
Emerald. I started that project like 3 times working on that video. 3 times, like twice my files were like completely destroyed. Long story. And the third time, my whole laptop got destroyed, and it was to the point of like, this project is cursed.
It's that. Like, I'm pretty sure we've all been there. Like, just to have everything be like, not like like you know, it's getting a feeling, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, by the way, you forgot to say, or just like your computer dies, boom, start over again.
Worst. I remember like when I started the Blaze movie, that was the one thing I refused to like not let finish.
Give it the oven punishment.
Yes. that video took me 5 months just to get done, that whole movie.
At least it's, and one thing I've always hated about, just not really hated, but like hated myself for, is like when I would take like months to actually make a video, and then it'd be like a 5-minute video.
Oh yes, those are the worst.
And I'm like, guys, like, I kind of have like an audience, but like they know I don't upload that often, so like when something interesting comes along, that's when it happens. But then I'll just like surprise them and like make a 30-minute video within 5 days or something like that.
Yeah, like I think like the thing I remember, like it took me so long to get done with Sonic Reminiscent episodes. They're like close to 1,000 photos, believe it or not. And when I'm like done, I see that it's only 5 minutes, and it's kind of depressing sometimes when you put so much work into something, and it's like, man, I just posted a video and people just saw this as a short thing, and it's like, that was practically 2 months of work.
I know. Like you should like really see that like animators and stuff like that. Like people like Harry Partridge who have to animate like I want to like I'm like he explained it better than I did, but he basically had to animate like 1,000 frames for like 1,000 frames per minute and stuff like that, and he would only come out with like his best work would be like a 3-minute music video. And that would take like 5 months to make. So it's like,
yeah, like nearly a year and stuff, I remember.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, whenever it comes to like anime stuff, if you're proud of the product, that's all that really matters, you know?
Yeah,
especially if it's came out good.
Yep, and like, as the thing, like at the end of the day, when people enjoy it, like that's the greatest feeling of them all. It's like, huzzah, like all that work didn't go to waste,
That also brings me to a question. Like, this is a side question that also has to do with this. How would working on something like Sonic Reminiscent be different than, like, say, Shadow and Silver Watch?
Well, with Shadow and Silver Watch, all I have to do is just think of short scenarios, like okay, so it depends on, like, say, for example, like the thing that's gonna be happening in the latest Sonic game is the fact that, like, this game was announced at the Sonic Party, so I put Shadow and Silver at the Sonic Party, and like a crazy way to introduce it is like here's like Tails fighting Ghost Rider at the background and stuff like that, and then it's like all this chaotic things are happening, and it's like here's Sonic saying like here's the new Sonic trailer, and it's then they start watching said trailer. Like, I base it on the themes of like whatever is going on with the said game, of whatever is going on at Sega at the time. And like all I have to do is like watch the trailer like several times, and then once it's done, I just okay, so Shadow is my negative opinions, like, or what the fans think,
Yeah.
I have to think like the fans, like, okay, a lot of people don't like this about like the Sonic game trailer from what I can see, so Shadow's gonna comment on that or something, or just small things that I noticed, like, say, for example, like, Shadow's gonna complain why, like, oh, how come Sonic just managed to phase through the floor over there? Nobody noticed that. And Silver is the more logical side of the Sonic fan base, and like my side is like, yeah, but you gotta really admire that CGI. You really gotta admire like what Sega's trying to do and stuff like that. So that's completely different of like how I had to think like the negative and the positives of both Shadow and Silver, and something for Sonic reminiscent. I have to think of like, okay, so all these characters, I need to think of like what their motivations are gonna be doing. Where is this story gonna be leading up to? I have to think of like, okay, is a fight scene really necessary here? Is it not necessary? Like, a lot of story structure of like, okay, do I want this person to, how am I gonna explain to people like how did Silver come to be and all that stuff, and like, am I ever gonna reveal that Black Doom is possessed Cheese's body and stuff like that? And if so, like, how am I gonna show that? And like, I have to like, okay, what's a shocking way for everyone to learn all of this? And like, I have to think of like all these scenarios, and it's more complex to think about than Shadow and Silver, like just watching some trailer, like one-offs, like, ha ha ha,
It's much easier to like just make fun, just kind of poke fun at the fan base, I see, and make positive negatives.
Yeah, like it's one of those like with the Shadow and Silver thing, like the tricky thing is like go far but not too far,
Yeah, you want to go like,
right.
Like, yeah, you understand the joke, but it's not like, oh, Sonic fans, 25-year lie, Sonic was never good, lol, or something like that.
Exactly. It's like one of those, like, it's just pretty much flat out, like, just go with it. It's just funny, It's like, yeah, like, Shadow is that kind of guy that you're like, he is so ridiculous by like his complaints. Even Silver is like, do you complain about breathing? And it's like, well, it's a pain in the ass when you have to run and you need to breathe.
I mean, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right, but it's mostly just, well, at the same time, even breathing through your nose and out your mouth, that's still like hard to master, so.
Exactly. And like of course, like there's always fair complaints of like, people are saying like, oh, they're both very rude about it, but it's like, again, it's like Shadow is complaining at the ridiculous level while Silver complains in the more like, well, that's kind of reasonable, like, why is Sega reusing a whole bunch of stuff when they could just create stuff,
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's to the point of like, it's ridiculous of how much they've been reusing stuff. It's like, even somebody like Silver can't ignore that anymore.
Especially when it comes to like different, like just the current state of the Sonic franchise. I think we'll get into that in a later question, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, but this is this is one of my more favorite questions to ask, but what are games that inspire you?
Oh, games that inspire me. Okay. Ever heard of the Onimusha franchise?
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Yes.
I love those games growing up. Like, my brother, like, bought part 1, and then, like, part 2, part 3. Well, part 3 was garbage. But,
hey.
Part 4.
I'll say this about part 3. Part 3 has Jean Reno, a time-traveling Jean Reno. With a fairy.
Now, here's the thing that, like, it's thanks to Onimusha 3, I will give it credit. Like, when I played Sonic 06, I didn't complain about, like, the time travel garbage that Sonic 06 had, because it is nothing compared to Onimusha 3's time travel garbage. It's like one of those, like, it makes no sense. Like, let's say, for example, like a character just died from the past, and the guy from the future, like, went back in time, sees his dead body, absorbs himself, and it's like, everything, like, that his past self, like, everything that was happening at his past was affecting his memories, so it's like, oh, I guess, him being dead doesn't affect you at all.
There's only one game I feel that's done time traveling right, and that is like the Zero Escape series, which I've heard, like, and anything else after that, I'd like people like to say, oh, BioShock Infinite did time traveling right, and that's where I heavily disagree, because there's like different other plot holes and chain reactions that would happen if you like killed Comstock or killed Booker DeWitt and like things like that. So
it really didn't make sense of like what kind of. Because a lot of people don't think about this, but when it comes down to time travels, there are different, like, set rules for time travel. Like, are you split timeline? Are you linear timeline? Are you doing the, you know, like, time door timeline? It's, like, several different times theories, but it's like, you have to explain how does time travel work in your world. Like, you know, like, the same thing, like, you know, like, your past self died, but it's like, no worries, that's an alternate dimension version of yourself. And, so yeah, like, there's Onimusha, and as much as I hate to say it, like, part 3 was a huge influence of, like, me thinking of, like, how to fix timelines in, Sonic 06. And, like, there's also Onimusha 4 because of its great, fantastic action. This is a pretty obvious one. A lot of people, when watching Sonic Reminiscent, knew right away it was Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts series. But believe it or not, I had no idea what Disney was until I met, like, my wife a few years ago. I was like, wait a second, you mean to tell me Aladdin is an actual character from his own movie and stuff? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, and Mickey Mouse is not a king or any of that stuff. And she's like, no, because I never heard of I never heard of Disney stuff. I always thought, like, Kingdom Hearts was made, like, the Disney characters were made up for Kingdom Hearts.
that's crazy, because, like, I've never...
Oh, wow.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, I honestly never heard of the Disney characters until, like, my wife, pretty much... I started, like, Disney, like, movie marathon. Like, the latest one I saw was Toy Story, which was perfect timing, because as soon as I got done with the Time Story movies... Because a lot of people were, like, sending me, like, watch it now! And I actually stayed up for an entire day, like, movie 1 through 3, watching them all. Because so many of my friends were like, I will beat you up! I saw all 3 of them. Part 2 is my favorite, by the way.
I love Toy Story 2. 3 was more of a rehash of 2, but that's my personal opinion, because 3 was worked, like, basically the same, like, Toy Story 2 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this time Woody was a saint for whatever the reason. But, yeah, there was the Kingdom Hearts series, Onimusha, and, a bit of Street Fighter was, my influences of, like, thinking on how to do videos, because Street Fighter, I'm always thinking about, like, how am I gonna make a fight really cool? And I start playing, like, a few rounds, and I start, like, I guess you could say choreographing in my head, like, okay, it would be cool if a character did this and that, you know?
They go for a tiger uppercut. And...
Right.
Yeah.
I think, like, I think the first time I heard of Street Fighter was through you, because I remember when I was watching, like, your videos when I was younger, and I was wondering, like, what was the Sonic and Chip, like, met Santa Claus, I think? And it was actually, was it Gen? Is that his name? I'm probably messing up. What's Ryu's
I'm
master?
trying to remember what it was.
I think you had Santa Claus being played as, like, Ryu's master or something like that.
Oh, Goken, yeah,
Goken.
Goken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I like that was my thing. I remember I wanted when I saw that, I was like, hey, I kind of want to get the new Street Fighter, like those are Super Street Fighter 4 at the time, and
Yeah.
like I was so excited, like, hey, mom's gonna get me my PS3, and then like, yeah, no, Tony, let's not, no, we're not getting you that, and like, but the thing is, I got my PS3, but guess what time?
What?
I only got it at in 2016. So basically, all throughout my high school, I was either playing on PC or like my PS2. That gave me time to catch up with like different sorts of other games that people didn't get to like on PS2 and like GameCube that people didn't get to play. But like, I was like true poverty, boys. But yeah. Luckily now, since I have PS4, I get to be updated with like whatever recent games that comes out. But it felt like a dark time.
Oh, I can imagine. Like even my wife, like you know, like she kind of dealt with the same thing as you, and you know, she sees my games, and I said like, you know, she didn't play a majority of them, and I'm like, go ahead, play a bunch of them. They're practically yours as well, and you know, like she's been getting into like how the Mario series is and all that stuff.
What other you probably noticed this in the questions, but have you ever played the Yakuza series?
I always wanted to play those. Those are for PS4, isn't it?
PlayStation only series, but it started on the PS2. That was like, it started on the PS2 back in 2005. If you look at America, 2006, because they had to localize it and they added like terrible English voice acting. And Mark Hamill was in it. So
yeah, I remember like hearing about that. It's like I always wanted to try the series. I remember I rented once at a Blockbuster when they were around, and that was practically it. I have like vague memories of it, you know. But I remember like it was fun because just going around and just randomly like suplex somebody.
Yeah. I will say, luckily, it's been a lot more easier to get into the series now because of, you know, PS4 and the stuff they've been doing recently. Like, Sega has been really pushing the series now since I think Atlas now helps them out with localization and stuff like that.
Yes.
And so they've had, like, I think in like the span of like a year and like a year and a half, they came out with Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza 6, which was like a few weeks ago. But
yeah,
like if you want to get in the series, I would recommend starting from 0. Like if you want to like play at least one game in the series, you should play 0. But if you want to move on from there, go to Yakuza Kiwami, which is a remake of the first game, and then just play the numbered entries from, you know, from 2 to 5 to 6 and stuff like that. So
all right, yeah, that sounds good.
Anyways, any other games you wanted to mention by any chance, or?
Those are the main things that really affected me. Yeah. I guess if I had to say like, the Sonic series, which is a big no duh.
How do you believe YouTube has changed over the years?
Oh wow. By YouTube, well, I'll start off with one of the more positive things is YouTube is less, I guess you could say, like, it may not seem like it, but YouTube has really chilled out with copywriting everything in videos. Like, I remember just having a small gameplay footage of something and immediately it gets copyrighted, blocked from all countries kind of thing. Like, as I said, it may not seem like it, but they are more chill when it comes down to like striking videos and stuff. And YouTube, like, I remember like years ago when you could personalize your own YouTube page, which could make it look unique, almost kind of like Facebookish almost. they removed that, and it's like I think it's because it ate up too much resources, which is why they had to make like, or that like people are like, you know what, all content creators need to be treated more equally, so they decided like everybody should have that blank white page. And it's like, it's one of those changes I don't know how to feel. Like, a part of me does miss like organizing, like, you know, my own little page, but at the same time I'm like, yeah, I guess like it forces you to focus more of the video stuff instead of like focusing on your page.
More focusing on content producing
Right.
rather than.
Yeah, and sometimes like some people like with their webpage, some people kind of put a whole bunch of colors around their YouTube page that it does become like annoying for your eyes.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like one of those. I'm not sure how to feel about that one. Is like it's both good and bad. And posting videos have been like one of the things I absolutely miss about like old YouTube is that I could just copy and paste my tags.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, they want you to write the tags over and over and over again. And I'm like, oh, I miss it when I just copied and pasted and like, that's it. But no, they want you to always write the tags, and it drives me nuts on that one.
It always.
At least the description can still be copy pasted.
Yeah, for now. I'm just gonna call it right now for now. And it's one of those like you know, I do feel sorry for YouTube because you know, people are going after it left and right by saying like, why don't you do this, why don't you do that, why don't like they try to fix it for us, but it's like one of those unfortunately every time YouTube updates and stuff, it's like a list of issues that like just causes more issues, you know. Like, remember when they tried to force us to literally use Google Plus 24/7?
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, don't remember.
Where I have to have like now I have like 2 separate accounts that I have to make sure. Hey, this is my YouTube account, and this is where I upload personal stuff that I need for like what like for videos and things like recordings and shit like that. And it's like,
yeah.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the only thing that worked out for me in the Google Plus thing, but like it was really confusing figuring it out first.
Yeah. It was just that annoying, and it's like I said, like YouTube has changed, some good, some bad. It could definitely be better, but it could have definitely been worse, you know?
Anyways, this is one question I wanted to ask you. Do you have anything you plan to do with your voice work or with animation by any chance? Like, become a professional in both of those or something like that?
I definitely, like, it's one of those, like, if the opportunity ever comes and stuff like that, saying like, hey, we want you to work on, like, I've been slowly been working for animations by, you know, people paying me for said things, and it's like, yeah, I want to give you as clean of an animation as possible and all that stuff. Like, it's one of those, if the work opportunity ever comes to me, I wouldn't say no, but if it doesn't come, then it's like one of those whatever, you know? Like, I would definitely, like, I would lose my mind if, say, for example, if a company like Capcom ever said, like, hey, we actually really enjoy the way you do these animations. If we give you these 3D models and stuff, will you do this animation for us? I would immediately say, yes!
One of like it's crazy. Like one of my like one of those jobs are always fun. Like I think one of my dream jobs is to like work at Sega or Atlas as like basically to work on like localization and stuff like that. Because like I'm actually a theater major, but I've honestly been more intrigued by just writing in general. And like I think I've been watching a few of Sega streams when they would stream like stuff like Yakuza and stuff like that. And they would always talk about, like, the process of how they localize something. And I'm like, you know, I really one day hope I can do that. And so I've been focusing, and also like I think also Aaron Weber is like really inspired me with like PR with how he does PR and things like that. Cause
Yeah.
he's one of the he's the one who like made me get back into like the Sonic fan base is cool.
Yeah. Like, it's one of those, he's definitely trying to keep things in the positive note. Like, even if sometimes it seems laughable, because I know, like, he says, like, we are the most positive, outgoing fan base out there. And it's like, yeah, people laugh at that, saying, like, yeah, right. But at the same time, it's like, he's just doing his job. He's trying to make Sega look good. He's trying to make the fans look good. He's just trying to make everything like in order.
Yeah, and that's what I've always admired him about, and
Right.
and he definitely has helped me be more, let's say, not more liking of the Sonic community, because
Yeah.
there may be some things there's stuff there I don't agree with, or don't don't swing that way, but at the same time the Sonic fan base, it's been full of like really genuine and very nice people. So
Yeah. I met a lot of great people throughout the fan base and stuff like that.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's pretty much just like any fan base, really. A good chunk of the people are actually really cool, but like at the end of the day, it's just like you got that minority of bad apples that really ruins it at the end of the day. That's how I kind of see it.
Like, for example, like the Dragon Ball Z fan base and all that.
Oof. Like Dragon Ball. Oof.
You ever dare say that Goku loses a match of some sort? Like, it's like, how dare you? Goku is invincible! And yet it's like, I'm just gonna say right now, the whole, Death Battle did the whole, like, Goku versus Superman thing. Like, I kind of found it hilarious that ever since, Goku lost to Superman, a lot of people started to say, like, no, Goku should have won. Superman is just OP.
It's like, to me, it's just like, those are fictional characters, guys. Come on. Like,
so if Goku loses to the One Punch guy, does that mean automatically, like, that dude is OP?
It's just,
Right.
I think, have you ever heard, like, that reminds me, have you ever heard of the, there was this one, a Dragon Ball YouTuber who has this, his fan character, Raikon, who says, he says he can, like, beat every single character in the Dragon Ball universe or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's this, there's things like that, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's like every fan base, every single one of them is like, everyone has their bad side, everyone has their good side. Like, there's not one single fan base that you can't say that, like, for example, like, some people would say, like, oh, that don't like the Ace Attorney series because it seems overrated because everyone loves it so much.
How do you feel about the Sonic franchise at the moment?
That's a really good one. The Sonic franchise moment. The way I feel so far about it is that, honestly, like, I feel sorry for Sega. They're trying so hard, so very hard to keep Sonic relevant, I guess you could say. Like, they're obviously, like, they're still, like, one of their main issues is that they're still at the experimental phase of Sonic, even though they should have left it a long time ago, because every Sonic game is so drastically different to the point of, like, you can't say, like, here, have this game, and when you're playing it and stuff, it's no longer, like, okay, you're like, cool, what about the next game? And it plays so drastically different that you're like, this isn't the kind of game that I liked. I remember the last one. I really liked that one. Why isn't it the same, And it's like that's the main issue. A lot of people complain about like, oh, but what about Mario and Zelda? They're practically the same game over and over and over. And it's like, yes, there is a formula that they go with, but the thing is, it works. It's what people loved about the Zelda games, and they changed things up just a little bit, but there's still that coreness of the game that you still loved from previous games just expanded upon. And it's like, and if somebody doesn't like it, say for example Skyward Sword, there were elements that like a lot of people didn't like, they go with the next game and get rid of all this stuff that people hated, but people were intrigued with the stamina bars, so they kept that, you know.
Yeah, they kept stuff like they would bring that in, like Breath of the Wild and things like that.
With Sonic so far, it's like people complain about a formula and Sega goes, reboot. It's like, okay, what about the next game? And it's like, oh, that was good. And it's like, but we hated everything else. And it's like, okay, reboot, keep the boost. Don't make it like the last game. Forget about it. And Sonic Generations comes. Everybody loved that game. And it's like, yes, but you don't know what you're talking about. Reboot.
I feel like also Azuka
right, basically.
I want to add to this because I feel like Azuka kind of I wouldn't say he, like, I used to say stuff like, oh, Azuka is a detriment to Sega, but at the same time I'm like, he's also a guy who's trying to, you know, make these games and figure out what exactly would people like, you know?
Yeah, because it's a lot of the main issue, and Sonic Forces is the key focus on this, is the whole like good ideas, really bad execution, like just really bad.
I remember I was on the big Forces hate train when that game was coming out, and I was just like, you know, like there's different things I know Sega did wrong, like not only with marketing Forces but with making Forces. Like for example, what I've heard, this is just I'm not sure if this is confirmed or not, but they said they were working for like on the game for like 4 years, but only like the first 2 or 3 years was actually just concept art working on, like just concept art, and then like
that's the case.
Yeah, and then like they like, okay, let's make the game in about a year, and I'm like, that's I'm not a game designer expert, but I'm pretty sure that's not how you do it. So,
and the thing that the thing that makes I guess you could say like another big issue, and Sega knows this and they're like weaponizing it almost, is the fact that they know for a fact that like fans will accept it if it means more Sonic, you know. That's the main issue, is like it's one of those like Sonic is one of those really unique properties because, you know, like you can't say the same thing for any other franchises. Like if a franchise messes up like once or twice, it's done for. But for Sonic, he messes up like game after game and he's still around, and it's like, that is fascinating, you know?
that is one thing I've always
right.
That's something like about the Sonic franchise that does astound me. Like we'll have like I think even after like stuff like 06 Unleashed and like, you know, 06 had really bad reception and like everyone thought Sonic was dead. They'd still come out with like Unleashed and then Colors, and I'm like, hey guys, and then like Colors was like the one that everyone says, you know, hey guys, this has been the first good Sonic game in a while. And then like they come out with Generations, everyone loves that. And then what was it?
Lost World came out then, and then Sonic Forces and Mania came out.
And then like I think it was funny because I was when we in the South by Southwest stream, if you remember the whole Q&A, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and there was that kid who said, you know, I've been a Sonic fan since I was 8. My first game was Sonic Colors, and I just went, oh, like I felt like I just got a home hearing that, and Baldy knows
Right.
it. I feel like Boom was like the first time when I felt that more that like kind of kids to adult humor was kind of perfect, like the Sonic Boom TV show, because Alan is freaking hilarious at times. So
like Sonic Boom was originally supposed to be the flat out reboot of Sonic. Like it was a spin-off, of course, but it was like one of those, they wanted to give the modern series a kind of a break. And it's like if Rise of Lyric actually did good and stuff like that, something tells me we would have been stuck with Boom for quite a while. We would have been in the Boom years, I guess you could say. And then we would have had Modern again, like, later.
unfortunately for Boom, Sega just mismanaged that, and they had like, oh yeah, they were telling Big Red Button, yeah, make the game on the CryEngine, and they're like, oh wait, make the game on Wii U, by the way, like literally.
Yeah, at the very last minute, like, saying, like, oh, that's great what you guys got. Change it to Wii U now. And it's like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, we made a deal with Nintendo. Since when? Oh, a long time ago, but we decided to tell you now. Goodbye.
I felt bad, like that. Like the crazy thing is that like
I will.
I mean, I want to add to this because like the crazy thing is that that's still happening even with the Sonic franchise to this day. Because it's like especially when I was coming out, because I'm like, you know, we had our good games and stuff like that was coming out and they were being released on time and stuff like that. But you have this kind of management, and then you have like people working crazy hours and then leaving the company before the game even comes out, and it's just like,
Yeah. Yep. And the thing that kind of drives me nuts, this is still like answering that question, is that another main issue that a lot of people think that's an issue for the Sonic series, but it's like the most minor issue, is that a lot of people think that the voice acting would somehow save the series, even though it really does not matter. It's like, it matters to a degree, but it's like, a lot of people kept thinking, like, if we had Ryan Drummond still, somehow the games would have still been amazing.
yeah, no, like,
And like the tone of the story too. Like everyone says that would save it too, and I'm just like, I don't really think so. Like it'd be nice, but I don't think so.
But this is also, I can add to this too, because like I would agree to that. I would agree to saying it would make the stories more enjoyable if it had the actors that you know and love. But at the same time, you should also remember how the actors were actually treated during Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Heroes. Because when we got on, I think a year ago or so, we got on Lonnie Manella on the podcast, and she was saying how terrible of an experience it was working with Sega. Like, let's just say she does not like Yuji Naka, so there's some. Yeah.
Another thing that people tend to forget is that, like, the Japanese side of things do have a saying of how the American side handles the Japanese products, you know? They will be like, we want it, and it's like, the thing is, like, the Japanese don't give a damn about, like, how, like, say, for example, like, certain things sound in English is like, yeah, no, we don't want you to go like, oof, we want you to go, yosh! You know? Because, like, that's the kind of sound you make when you're grunting at, like, ladders in Japan, and it's like, well, it's literally the whole, like, trying to tell a weeaboo, like, that's not how America works!
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, it sounds cool to you, but here in our language, that sounds like the most idiotic thing in the world.
Lonnie was also mentioning that because, like, they were saying that, and I think one of the things that happened during casting for Adventure is that Yuji Naka wanted to get, like, famous actors. Like, apparently they were going to give Knuckles a Jamaican accent. Sonic was going to be voiced by a rapper, I think. I can't remember who. But
Eminem, I guess.
Not Eminem. It was some. I can't remember who it was. I gotta go back and look at it, but it was someone. And then like, I think when they were in, he wanted the characters to like the actors to actually look like the characters. So what Lonnie did was put a paper over the She put a paper over the screen where you can see the actors, so he wouldn't be able to see the faces and stuff. And then he got really pissed she did that. So
that sounds like being a part of a fan project that somebody is taking it way too seriously.
I think Naka probably had to humble up considering like the things he's been in recently because of like the poor mistreatment of like Rodea and stuff like that. So I'm not. So like it just depends. I hope Naka has learned from that experience, but I'm not sure. But yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I was being asked. I guess in the interview, I just been asked, what would I like from a Sonic? And I said, I'll have an ice cream blast. So just in case if you guys are wondering what do I want from a Sonic, I'll have an ice cream blast.
Yeah, we have 2 fan questions.
Yeah.
All right, I'll ask the first one. This was from WeKnight678 on Twitter. Do you believe in the Lord and Savior Tails?
Praise Tails. Yes, I do.
And I think
excellent.
I got this was from Oak.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
From Oakburn on Twitch. What would you say is your favorite part about animating, and what's your least favorite?
Okay, wow. My favorite part about animating is, besides being done, I love getting into action scenes of like making a character like doing uppercut, doing like all these like, you know, physical contact battles kind of thing. It's just so cool, and once it's done and all that, it's just so cool to see all of it work out. And sometimes, of course, I have to smooth and all that. But the thing I hate animating the most is when I'm doing like story videos where the characters are just standing around, and it's like one of those, I have to let myself remember like characters on screen don't always have to do stuff. They have to like sometimes stand and just talk. But sometimes when you're animating just talking, it's like it's so dull and boring, and you're like, oh, I wish I could make them do something. But you can't make them do stuff because that, or like they're gonna look like a spaz on screen that they can't stand still.
So this last question, coincidentally, this has been a very big topic in the server because we've been trying to figure this out ever since we remembered Pokemon Heroes, 5th Pokemon movie. Oh. At the end of Pokemon Heroes, did Bianca kiss Ash or did Latias kiss Ash?
Oh man, that movie. I'm gonna have to say seeing the events play out and all that stuff, I'm still convinced that it's the Pokemon that kissed Ash.
That's what I agree on, but I watched it again.
That's what I think, but it was also like really ambiguous.
It's very ambiguous, and it's like they want you to think, but at the same time, it's like, if you really think about it, the girl doesn't really have that much affection over Ash, while the Pokemon has some kind of unhealthy relation going on.
It could be different things, because like they try to make it ambiguous because during that scene, the hat's actually in her room, right? And yep. She doesn't take the hat, and then like, and she brings the drawing, and I think you also see Latias at the end of the movie, like, flying over, like, from the other side, so it's like, So there's different...
I bet that's a question that Ash is asking himself, like, I don't know anymore!
I was texting my friends about this, too, and they were, just different way, like, saying, like, oh, don't you just hate it when a cute when you meet a cute girl and it turns out she's just a Latias? And then my friends are all like, "Are you fucking kidding me? That's not the score." And they were actually arguing about would it be good to have a Latias as your girlfriend. So it's all that.
Well, here's the thing that's a positive side. Nobody will mess with you. Nobody. I could just imagine Black.Rock Shadow over here trying to mess with you, and it's oh yeah, I'll bring my girl now, and she comes by and it's like, Shadow Ball.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you see, it's
okay.
Let's kick him back. Oh no, this is going horrible.
Okay. Sonic, when I get a girlfriend, I'm gonna make her do that just to mess with you. I hope you know that.
This sounds like a video idea already.
There you go. There you go, Shadow. Make that
a very disturbing yet funny video.
Dedicated to Lethal Gear, they gave me this idea.
You know what? Just for the sake of this interview, I think I will animate that really quick.
Oof. Anyways.
Okay.
No freebies. Anyways, I think that all right. I think that wraps this interview up. Yes. Anyways, Shadow, where can we find you in YouTube, social media, wherever, you know?
Yes. In YouTube, you can find me at Shadow759. That's pretty much what it is. I have close to over 759 videos, believe it or not. I have beyond that number now. And you could also find me on Twitter as Shadow7591. Why is there a 1 at the end is because Shadow759 was not available. And yeah, those are the best way to contact me is Twitter. I use that almost every single day. And YouTube, and that's pretty much all I have to and also my Patreon and all that good stuff.
Oh dang, you are right. Shadow759 is taken by Johnny Emmanuel. Dang.
Yeah. I remember one time out of pure boredom, I did Google myself, and I found out that there are some dating websites of some dude trying to pose as me, saying yeah, I run a YouTube channel called 759. I'm looking for a girlfriend and this and that, and it's oh boy, here I thought Shadow759 was married.
It's that's just the people who do that kind of stuff, I personally think are actual losers. So
yeah, it is one of those remember, kids, always question stuff. Don't right away think when you see somebody's username as this, always question it where's the proof, you know?
I'm actually Michael Jackson, guys. Don't ask any questions. Don't at me.
Guys, you can tell from my avatar, I'm actually
Let me just say that I watch your show every 6 o'clock every day at Cartoon Network. The fact that I even know the time, don't question me.
So my YouTube, it's still not up because I'm a lazy butt and I've been trying to make the fabled Game Awards video. But YouTube is Black.Rock Shadow, of course. And Twitter is just like before Black.Rock Shadow. I use it more than I admittedly should. So be prepared to see a lot of Sega shilling all the time.
It's been almost 5 months and we still don't
That's about it, really.
It's been almost 5 months and we still don't have that Game Awards video out. That is horrible. I'm so bad.
Hey, to be fair, I took over because I was like, I've got some ideas for try, and it's taken me 2 months because I kept getting busy. But thankfully, I'm almost done, so it should literally be any day now.
All right, sweet. All right,
Awesome.
I mean, to finish this off, you probably don't know me, but Sonickick, youtube.com/c/Sonickick, Twitter, it's at Sonickick with an underscore, and Facebook. I have a Facebook, but that's just /Sonickick reviews, but I don't really use it that often. But that's a Facebook page. But oh yeah, twitch.tv/Sonickick. No, and sorry about that. And for the Lethal Gear channels, we're on YouTube as Lethal Gear, Twitter Lethal Gear with an underscore. Our shit posting Twitter is Lethal Discord, where we share many stupid stories that happen on Discord, end quotes. And what else? And the Twitch that you're watching now, twitch.tv/Lethal Gear with an underscore. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Shadow759.
Oh, anytime, man. It was a lot of fun.
Alright, sweet. There's no need to put any of you in oven punishment.
Oh shit. All right, hold on, Vector. I got hold on. I'm ordering pizza right now. What do you want?
Oh, I want an extra large, half cheese and half pepperoni.
All right, here we go.
Tell Silver not to carry it in a box. It will just it will just trap all the heat, and I want it nice, like brought it to his hands and nice hot melted.
All right. Don't have it in a box. Have the
excellent.
Anyways, yeah. Thank you so much again, and everyone else. Thank you. If you're watching from the live stream, thank you so much for coming by and stopping by the chat. Don't worry, I was reading all the comments. I was making sure, but yeah. Anyways, thank you so much, and may you all have a very nice evening.